So, hello. If you're here or if you're watching later, I've just been having the most amazing initiations and transformations between the sixth and the seventh gate that's coming. I'm really feeling the power of the seventh gate. And like before I begin these things, I always have a look at all the charts, but oh my goodness, I've talked about what's going on with Gene Key 25, and this Venus Moon conjunction is slap bang in the middle of this huge kind of lineup in Pisces at the moment. And it's the crown chakra, it's like the final ascending gate. Um, it's like coming into a much bigger sense of self. That's always how I've felt it. This is the third time I've come out through the ascending gates, and it's always been this kind of gathering of space and power, like becoming one with the cosmos in a much more powerful way. So before I do my presentation, I wanted to read a little bit about an Inanna myth, and I actually do know this myth, but I've completely forgotten about it. And there's two myths of Inanna and Lilith. One where Lilith is the handmaiden of Inanna. So she is with Inanna when Inanna goes into the underworld, and she helps to get her out once she's dead and she's brought back to life. So Lilith is really key, and she's called the midwife of, or the handmaiden of Inanna. But this second myth, I started reading this book I just got called Living Lilith, Four Dimensions of the Cosmic Feminine, by N. Kelly Hunter, who's one of my favorite astrologers. And she kind of got me into Lilith like many, many years ago. And so I was really interested to read her new book. So I get reading on this book, and I just want to share this myth. It's called Lilith and the Halupu Tree. I live in the tree of life with the serpent in the roots and the thunderbird in its branches. Why are you afraid of me? Why are you afraid of the tree? Okay, let me see where I want to read from, because I won't read you the whole thing. Amidst a wild primordial storm, a tree, a halupa tree, is uprooted and swept down river. The young goddess Inanna, so she'll be morning star here, finds the tree tangled in some brush along the riverbank and pulls it from the water. Inanna tends the tree, the centerpiece of her garden, the original Garden of Eden. She plans to make the wood of the mature tree into her throne of queenship and her bed of marriage. Creatures appear in the tree. A serpent winds among the roots. A wild bird nests in her young in its branches, and the dark maid Lilith takes up residence in the trunk. Wild and untamed, these primordial energies interfere with Inanna's plans. Perhaps they have come to teach Inanna what she needs to know to fulfill her destiny as goddess. Yet Inanna is not ready to embrace the full and potentially dangerous power of these creatures, of Lilith. She needs to establish herself on her own terms. Inanna calls her brother Gilgamesh to get rid of the creatures. He kills the serpent and chases away the bird. Lilith refuses to be dominated. Rather, she chooses exile. So, with Lilith's exit, the making of Inanna's throne of queenship and bed of marriage can proceed. Now, this is a really interesting story because Inanna is is, I feel, in her morning star phase. She's young, she's immature. And so when these creatures come, the snake and the bird and Lilith, it's like she's not ready for them. She can't control them. They're too big for her to integrate in a way. So there's a period of where Lilith and the snake is killed, the bird is sent into exile. And yet it's felt really like my whole initiation through this gate has felt like a returning, like another opportunity to say yes to the initiation of Lilith, yes to the serpent energy, and yes to the bird. And I feel these represent like healing, with the serpent, the connection to the earth. The birds to me are the wisdom, in the dream arc, they're the vision of the future. And Lilith is the dark, primordial part of ourselves. So, having read the story, this amazing story unfolded where the day before I read this, Adam and I had this vision of having our kitchen with these bits of oak tree, and we wanted them from the same tree. And we actually managed to find pieces of this oak tree and create the kitchen in the space of a week. So I'm going to share the before and after photos with you. But it felt like a really spontaneous initiation, and both of us having to consciously say yes to Lilith, because in the middle of all of this, Adam had a kind of breathing problem. And so I gave him some healing. And what came to me in the healing is to talk to his body in a kind of alternative light language. And what I said to his body is, you need to accept the Lilith initiation. And in like a second, his breath was fine. It was like, wow, that was amazing. So yeah, it feels like quite a tough initiation, and we know this about Venus. If you want to do a Venus initiation, it's not for the faint-hearted, really. And I know some of you like have been here through the whole way through the descending and ascending gates, and some have just been with us on the ascending gates. But it feels like wherever you started, we can come out of this crown chakra and really harness this incredible this incredible planetary lineup. And even if you haven't been doing it at all, you can tap into us and come along for the ride. So okay, so I'm going to share my presentation, and then we can talk some more with the people who are here about what's going on for you. And I'm going to be mentioning the daily meditation. So I'm really glad Danny's here. Okay, right, we'll go back. Okay, so we're at the Venus Moon Gate 7. These conjunctions are monthly, and there's 7 in each cycle that are visible from the Earth. There's actually 9. So a Venus Moon cycle is 9 months, which is obviously an echo of our own gestation period. And this is the reason why I feel to work with Venus is so incredibly powerful over 9 months, because we can actually kind of rescript our inner programs, which we would have had since our womb time. So this Venus Moon Gate is in Gene Key 25. Last week I did a presentation on all the activations in Gene Key 25, the moon's nodes are there. Venus is going to be Neptune's moving into the 25. So we're moving from the shadow of constriction to the gift of acceptance and to the city of universal love. So I invite you to read Gene Key 25 this month. And if you're going to join my meditation, it's really going to tune in to, the opening of universal love. It's a lot about the heart, this meditation. So let me show you. This is the old kitchen. I think these were here when Adam moved into the house. So these are like IKEA units. They're made of glass and wood, and they're kind of nice, but we just had this like, boom, we want to change it. And these are the oak planks. They're 10 feet long each, so they're absolutely massive. And it was, I don't know if any of you have ever sanded like proper wood, but you sort of taking off all this like grime and stuff, and then it's like wings, and one of them had a huge dragon on it, and it's like the inner life of the wood just started coming back to life. And this whole kind of metaphor that even though this tree has died, it now has a whole new life. And it's like this new kitchen took on this whole like mythical status, So yeah, that was like pretty awesome. And I kind of realized as well in the middle of it all that the first poetry book I ever wrote, which I've never published as yet, was called In Lilith's Kitchen. So that was really funny as well. Like sometimes you get a sense of how long the universe has had something lined up for you, and you could never second guess these things really. Okay, so this is the chart, and so the thing to notice, first of all, is this incredible lineup at the end of Pisces. So the Venus moon gate is 28 degrees 10 seconds, and it's actually like right on the cusp of 36 line 6 and 25 line 1. It's like right there. And I think last week I was talking about how like 36, the darkening of the light, it's a really, it's the shadow of turbulence. And then there's this, feels like there's this kind of breakthrough into the 25. So Neptune is still in the 36. The Venus moon is right on the cusp. This is the chart, by the way, for the 1st of February, which is Saturday. And so that's pretty awesome as well. It actually falls like right on Imbolc, which is the Celtic festival of rebirth, Saint Bridget, or Bridget of the perpetual fire. And actually straight after this class next week, I'm going to be doing a free thing with Bridget, around Bridget, with Matthew from the Gene Keys. So I'll post the link in the tribe if you're into joining that. Okay, so, and there's a North Node as well. So the nodes are, as I say, they're in the 25, the North Node. The 46 is its programming partner across there. Other things that I thought were interesting in this chart is that we have a trine in Earth. So we have the South Node in Virgo, we have Uranus in Taurus, and we have Pallas Athena there in Capricorn. So there's this beautiful, strong, like kind of eco-warrior transforming energy that is potentially there at the moment. And then we have, so you have quite a lot of connections with things in the later signs. So you've got Hygeia there is exactly 30 degrees away from the Venus moon gate. So she's a goddess of healing. Here we've got Neptune at 27 Pisces. We've got Ceres at 21 Aquarius. Pallas Athena 24 Capricorn. Juno at 26 Scorpio. Mars at 20 Cancer. So there's a lot of this kind of part of the zodiac, and they're all kind of aspecting each other. So they're creating a star, basically, of all these energies going on at the moment. And the other obvious thing to say is that because this is the end of Pisces and the beginning of Aries, this is like the big life, death, rebirth part of the zodiac. So this is like a huge opportunity, like all these planets, Saturn as well. You know, we've got this real kind of cauldron of energies that are reshaping us, really. They're reshaping us. That can feel pretty stressful, as I'm sure we all know. Okay, so I wanted to just show you this because I want to sort of include more things so people know where I get this information from, and you can potentially look things up yourself as well. So here we have the human design wheel, and we have all the hexagrams, and this is also the zodiac. So this thing is called the HD synthesis, and it tells you exactly where things are in the zodiac. So, so you have gene key 25 is followed by 17, is followed by 21, moving from Pisces to Aries. And these hexagrams, they have like an element that goes with them. And so we're now in the thunder sequence of hexagrams. And last night, I haven't heard thunder for ages, but we actually had a crack of lightning and thunder at the same time over the house. So this is the time of storms, of initiation, and yeah, 51 is the kind of pinnacle, which is thunder over thunder, the arousing force of thunder. So we're actually in a time of initiation as well as being in our Venus initiation. Okay, so as Inanna comes through this gate, she reclaims her crown as she reaches the pinnacle of her evening star phase. So the crown to me represents like sovereignty. I'm going to decide what's happening in my life rather than things outside me kind of battering me. I'm going to find this place in myself where I might get battered sometimes, but I want to not be so battered, really. That's the aim, isn't it? Okay, so I wanted to share, I know not everyone here is doing Danny's 40-day meditation, but I just wanted to say how much I feel this mantra has shifted in me a kind of quite kind of small view of myself, a bit of a kind of, I was at a bit of a crisis point around my work. What am I going to do? Blah, 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 you know, it's always the same, really. And then what I found is like my inner voice of wisdom saying, you need to just open to being bigger, to having more psychic space. You know, you can, like Venus can do that. She can open us so we have more psychic space. And some of these words I just think are Wonderful. I was especially tuning into the last two words, agunje, alake, which are unconquerable and indescribable. And I was thinking, yeah, like that is Lilith. She's indescribable. You know, she cannot be put in a box. She cannot be pinned down to one thing or another. You know, she's everything. So how on earth could you put her in a box? And she is what we are as well. Like our true self is unconquerable because we live through lifetimes and lifetimes. So we are actually literally unconquerable and we're indescribable. Yeah, beyond birth, beyond silence, nameless, desireless. You know, all these words are just, I feel the mantras, this kind of powerful kind of rebirthing tool. And I know there's many others as well, because I know some of you have your own amazing meditations, but I did want to mention this as much for Danny really as anyone. So you know how much I feel it's been part of my process. Okay, so just to mention what's happening next, I mentioned next Monday, there's a free Imbolc ceremony invoking the goddess Bridget and the four holy Celtic creatures. That's at the hour after this. Monday the 10th, I start the Heart Sutra meditation. I'm not sure what we'll be doing in astrology, maybe Chiron. And also there's a free The Grail Mysteries in the Aquarian Age introduction at 6 o'clock that I'm doing with Matthew. And if you want to come along and share your Venus Moon experiences, I'm doing that on Sunday, the 16th of February at 5 p.m. Okay, so all those dates are on the calendar. Well, some of them aren't in Soul Tribe, but I'll post where you can sign up for them if you want to. Okay, well, that's all I have to share for today. You can tell I'm like buzzing with exuberance. It's not always like that. Sometimes I feel like I've been flattened. But today I really want to hold us all coming out of this together and working together to get to this next level. Pat, you unmuted. Do you want to share? I'm just going to.
Okay.
I'm just going
My finger went there without looking.